In today's video, we're going to look at creating a repeatable fire button. So let's get started. Okay, at the moment we have this project where if we run and when we hit the fire button, it shoots a bullet, but at the moment it's only set up to single fire. Now, as we're going to move this over to a mobile device, we want to put a virtual button on the screen here, down at the bottom corner, so that we can use that to fire. What we need to do now is create a button, a UI button, and we'll just do a image for this. So once we've added it to here, let me get rid of this game window for now. And I'm going to anchor it into the bottom corner. So let's just anchor it down there. And then we'll just bring it out sort of, yeah, about there should be fine. And if we go back to the, oh sorry, let's bring up the game window. Yeah, yeah, that'll do for now. Now, the other thing we need to do is select a new image for it. So I have this, let's just show you. I've got this joystick pack. I'll put the link in the description so you can get this pack. It's free and it's pretty good to get started with a virtual joystick with your mobile games. But anyway, let's go back to changing this image and, oops, wrong one. Let's do the handled ridge for now because that actually looks like a button, as you can see. Now, once we've done that, we need to write a script. So I'm going to open up the project again. I'm going to go scripts. I'm going to create a folder just so that I can keep it separated. And I'm just going to create a joy button folder. And within that, I'm going to create another C# script. And I'm going to call that joy button. And I'm going to open that up. Okay. Now, this is not going to be a mono behavior script, so I'm going to remove the mono behavior, the update, start, and update because we just don't need them. But what I am going to do, sorry, I am going to leave it as a mono behavior, my apologies. But I'm going to create a couple of interfaces. So the first one's going to be iPointer. Actually, before I do that, I need to add the Unity engine dot, sorry, using, I can't even spell, using Unity engine event systems. Okay, so that's now going to allow me to bring in an iPointer, and the first one we're going to put in is an up handler, and then the next one we're going to put in is going to be the down handler. And as you can see, we've got these red lines saying that because they're interfaces, we need to now make sure that those methods exist. So we'll click to here and we'll go implement interface, and we'll do the same with this one. And I'm going to remove these throwing of the exceptions, and I'm going to add, let's do a hide in inspector, and I'm going to add a public bool button pressed equals false, and that's going to be the variable that we access from another script. And the reason I've done the hide in inspector is because we don't want to be able to change it from within the inspector of the editor. Okay, so it's as simple as saying, okay, on the pointed down, that's obviously when we've hit the button and we've pressed down on the button. So we're just going to say button pressed equals true. And then on pointer up, we're obviously going to do the reverse. So that means that we've released on the image. So we go on button pressed equals false. And that's all we need to do. So now we need to then go back to Unity, and we're going to then select on the player, and we've got this test button script. Now this is just this is just the player script, which will move the player around and do the firing and everything. As you can see, we've got a bullet already in here. We've got the bullet spawn point, which is attached to the player. So it's just a point in space in front. And all we need to do is open up this test button script. And as you can see, it's not doing anything fancy. It's just basically got the bullet prefab, which we assigned it to the bullet. We get a reference to the bullet spawn point, and we've got a fire rate and a last shot. So that basically allows us to say how often we can repeat on the fire. And as this is already set up to use the like a joypad or whatever, keyboard or whatever, using the default, what we want to do is now switch this over to be able to use that virtual button. So to get it to do that, we now need to add a protected joy button, which is the button that we added before, and we'll call this joy button. Okay, and what we need to do now is we need to do an awake method, and within the awake method we now need to go and find that. So let's do a joy button equals game object dot find object of type, and we'll do a joy button so we know that there's only going to be the one. We could tag it to anything later down the track. If we want to add more buttons, we can give it a name, we can do anything basically. So for now we're just going to use the script, which is joy button, and then we're going to cache that in here. So in the update, we're now going to change this to say joy button dot button pressed and then fire. And if we go back to Unity and run that, that should be all we need to do, provided I've done it right, and I haven't. What have I done wrong? Okay, I'll quickly pause the video. I needed to actually add that joy button onto our image. And let's just rename that for now, and we'll call that fire button so that we don't get confused. Now, hopefully when we run this, there we go. And as you can see, I can now hold it down and it does an auto fire. Now, that's technically not a in the true sense of a UI button, but using those interfaces, we've now told the event system that when the button is pressed or the image is pressed on, we can now fire. And I can do like tapping the button and it fires one at a time, or I can just hold it down and have an auto fire. Well, that's it for this video, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure that you do hit the bell notification so that you do get notified when new content gets added.